Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving head first into one of the biggest, most important shifts hitting the HVACR industry. Seriously, this is a global change that's going to impact every single one of us. Technicians, engineers, business owners, you name it. So let's get right into it. Just think about that for a second. What if the biggest risk to your livelihood, to your company, was an invisible gas you work with every single day? Because that's exactly the situation we're in. The refrigerants we've relied on for years are now at the center of a huge regulatory storm. This isn't just about ticking some compliance boxes. It's about future-proofing our entire industry. So the whole reason we're even having this conversation comes down to one simple acronym, GWP, or Global Warming Potential. The easiest way to think about it is like a power reading for greenhouse gases. CO₂ is our baseline. It has a GWP of 1. Everything else gets measured against that. Now take a look at this number, 3,922. That is the GWP of R404A, a refrigerant that is in countless systems out there. Let that sink in. It means releasing just 1 little kilogram of R404A is as bad for the climate as dumping almost 4 tons of CO₂ into the atmosphere. That's like the weight of 2 cars. So when you see a number that huge, you get why the world is finally taking action. We're not talking about minor pollutants here. These things are incredibly potent. And that potency has kicked off a massive, coordinated global response that's creating a whole new rulebook for how we do our jobs. And I really want to stress this point. This isn't just one country or one region making up new rules in a vacuum. No, this is a truly worldwide effort. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture for a moment. The framework for all of this, the big one, is the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol. And you've heard of the Montreal Protocol, right? It's the same international treaty that successfully saved the ozone layer. Well, it's been updated to go after HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, specifically because of their crazy high global warming potential. And this isn't some far-off plan. It's a legally binding roadmap that's already in motion. You can see it started back in 2019, but 2024 is a huge milestone year with much deeper cuts. And the final destination? For industrialized nations, it's a massive 85% cut in HFC use by 2036. This is happening, and it's happening now. Okay, so that's the global handshake. But how does a big international agreement actually affect you on a Tuesday morning on a job site? Well, let's zoom in on a perfect example that's become a blueprint for the world, the EU F-gas regulation. Now, this regulation is really smart about it. It's not just saying, don't use this gas. It's looking at the entire life cycle. It's about containing what's already out there, preventing leaks, making sure we recover and destroy gases properly, and, this is key, making sure the people and the companies doing the work are actually qualified and certified to do it. The strategy here is basically a two-pronged attack. First, you squeeze the supply. They've put a quota system in place that limits the total amount of HFCs that can even be sold. Less supply, higher prices. That pushes everyone toward alternatives. And second, you lock down the demand side by enforcing strict rules to stop leaks from all the equipment that's already running. It's a really effective supply and demand squeeze play. All right, let's bring this right down to the ground level. This is where the regulations meet your tool bag. What does this actually mean for you, on the job, starting tomorrow? I like to boil it down to what I call the rule of 3. These are the 3 absolute, non-negotiable things you have to get right. You've got to check for leaks, you've got to record everything, and you've got to be certified. Check, record, certify. Let's quickly break them down. First up, leak checks. And this is a huge change in how we think. The schedule for your leak checks isn't based on the kilograms of refrigerant in the system anymore. Nope, it's now based on its CO₂ equivalent. This directly ties your maintenance work to the climate impact of the gas. So a small charge of a high GWP gas can need checking way more often than a big charge of a cleaner gas. And check this out. If you install an automatic leak detection system, you can basically cut your mandatory check frequency in half. That's a big deal. Next up, the logbook. Think of this as the system's legal passport. It's the official proof that you are doing your job by the book. Every gram of gas has to be accounted for. What's in it, what you add, what you take out, and where it all goes. And these records aren't just for you. They have to be kept for at least 5 years because you can be audited. So meticulous paperwork isn't optional anymore. It's the law. Finally, certification. And listen up, because this is a detail that trips a lot of people up. It's not enough for you, the technician, to be certified. The company you work for has to hold a valid F-gas company certificate, too. It makes sure the whole operation, from procedures to tools to record keeping, is up to standard. It's about both the person and the business being compliant.
So, with all these old-school refrigerants on their way out, where are we all headed? What does the future of cooling actually look like? Let's take a peek at the roadmap.
We are smack in the middle of this great transition. We're moving away from synthetic HFCs, like the ones you see on the left, and shifting toward alternatives with incredibly low GWPs. And a lot of these are what we call natural refrigerants, things like ammonia with a GWP of 0, CO₂ with a GWP of 1, and propane with a GWP of 3. Now, they're fantastic for the environment, but they bring new challenges. Some are flammable, some operate at super high pressures, and that means new skills, new tools, and a whole new focus on safety. You know, there's this old proverb that just fits our situation perfectly right now. We can look at all these new rules and regulations as a giant wall, a hassle, a barrier to business. Or we can see it as wind, a powerful force that we can harness to drive innovation, to create new opportunities, and to build a better, more sustainable industry. The choice is really up to us. Look, this isn't just a compliance headache, it's a fundamental reinvention of our profession. The technicians, the engineers, the companies that lean into this, that invest in training, that get good at handling the next generation of refrigerants, those are the ones who are not just going to survive, they're going to thrive. So the only question left is, what will you build? Thanks for tuning in.